Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning to everyone. I have got no idea who's here. Morning, Mama Gotti. Thanks for joining. This show is about to begin. I am here all by myself. I have no idea what's going on. So let's do this. We've got an amazing guest today. Hopefully Brandon is feeling better. My kettle's just boiling. Give me 2 seconds because I was not planning for this. So, Mama Gotti, it looks like it's just me and you here today. Hopefully we get some other viewers. I have no idea how Brandon is. Yesterday he said that they had to give him some steroids and stuff. We hope he's better. Hope he's feeling better. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I know he tested negative for the COVID, and he had to get some more medicine or go to the doctor yesterday and everything. So he's doing okay, but he's still not better. So I have no idea why or what is happening at this moment, or where everybody is. Well, I'm sure we'll sort it out very quickly. So I don't know what you guys want to do today. What do you want to talk about? If you can give, you nearly missed the show. I get stuck on TikTok like that. Like you get stuck. I'm glad you're back, Mama Gotti. I'm very glad you're back. Guys, just hang on. So I don't know if you guys want to play. You want to play a game, or what you guys want to do. If you can help me out, yeah, I would really appreciate it. I'm in a bit of I did not expect to do the show by myself, so I'm gonna. I was on TikTok this morning. Why more TikTok in the mornings? Because if I TikTok at night, then I'm on TikTok too long, and then I fall asleep too late. So healthy breaths in. Thanks, Mama Gotti. I needed that. Taking breaths. So I don't know. I was thinking that maybe we should do another music trivia. Morning, Brett. Hi, guys. Morning. Glad you could be here. Hopefully we can get an update on Brandon, and hopefully he's feeling better. And if anyone wants to join me, just let me know. I will send you guys the link. Then we can maybe have a chat, or you can maybe put in the comments what you guys would like to talk about. How it's yesterday was the 1st of December. Have you guys done your holiday shopping yet? because I have not been close to a mall in ages, so I don't even know what it looks like. And are you guys spending money on um, on gifts this year, or are you just giving your loved ones something that you made, or how does your gift giving work in America? If any, give us a message about what you're passionate about. Ooh, me. I think everybody must give a message what they're passionate about. I am passionate about helping people, and I'm passionate about my kids. First and foremost, I'm passionate about my kids, and I'm passionate about the work I'm doing, and the relationships I build with people. I've been okay. Britt. We've had some issues with Alri's husband again. She had to go to the police station again yesterday. And she's busy moving out. I'm a bit emotional. Um, it's just been a hard couple of weeks. And everything coming together. Auri's time with me has ended. She leaves on Tuesday to go to the garden route. And oh, I'm freaking out about finishing up on Christmas party stuff. I love time with family, but the holiday pressure sucks, triggers my anxiety. I've been triggered a lot this week as well. Hey, Kev. I've been triggered a lot this week, especially with, I think if we go back to that interview that we had with the guy that had the pornography or was addicted to pornography and everything. Just a lot of things in my past that came up that I had to deal with in the last couple of weeks. So we're moving on to new chapters, ending our chapter here in South Africa by middle Feb. And just saying goodbye to all my friends. I think that's the hardest, saying goodbye to Alri on Tuesday. And then I'm seeing Veronica tomorrow and my brother's daughter, and seeing my kids this weekend and everything. And going to another friend of mine to say goodbye to them. So just a lot of emotion and everything changing and shifts happening. And Saturday's the eclipse. There's a new moon and the eclipse. So what are you guys manifesting for the new year, Britt, Mama Gotti and Kevin? And anybody else? What have you guys got going on for the new year? What projects are you working on? I don't want to say New Year's resolution after the COVID, because I think if you just survive 2019, 2020, and 2021, then you have accomplished a lot more than some people out there. And you guys need to stay strong and just know that everything will work out for the best. Britt, when is your birthday? Mama Gotti, yours is on the same as my daughter's. It's the 8th of November. So I'm going to read Mama Gotti's. Guys can put your birthdays in here and then I'll read. I've got a birthday book. It's a complete the element encyclopedia of birthdays. So it tells you exactly how you are on your birthday. Not how you are on your birthday. What kind of person and person you are, and your traits and all those things. So I'll do Mama Gotti's first because it's the 8th of November. I remember that one. Before we end, we'll do Brandon's, and then hopefully he can see it. So anybody can put their birthdays in there. I'll do Mama Gotti's first, and then you can see how it goes. So just excuse my reading because I was not very good in school. I never listened to them. So it says, 8th of November, the birthday of dark fascination. Although they are blessed with imaginative and progressive minds, people born on the 8th of November can come across as serious or intense. They tend to be attracted to unusual subjects that others would consider borderline shadowy or dark. In some cases, their interest may even be considered peculiar or, at the very least, out of the ordinary. They are brilliant at concentrating their energy on achieving their goals. And this, combined with their courage and ambition, augurs well for professional success. Many will attract money their way, rise to the top of their career, or make comfortable standard of living an important goal in their lives. Sometimes the desire to achieve materially can be so strong that it becomes overpowering in its intensity. It is important for these people to remember that to remember what is truly important in life. It is their curiosity which draws these people to the shadowy aspects of life, and a part of them longs to push the boundaries of knowledge and experience to their limits. If they are able to maintain objectivity, they have the potential to be innovating pioneers. But if they can't keep the distance, there is a real risk of them they're becoming too closely identified with the darker aspects of the world and the shadow side of themselves. Until the age of 33, the urge for these people to explore the unconventional is the strongest. During these years, they need to remember that, as fascinating as the unconventional is, there is also much to be learned from what is routine. After the age of 34, there is a turning point when they start to become more practical, disciplined, and goal orientated in the realization of their objectives, whatever age they are. However, the key to their success is their ability to confront their inner fears rather than seeking it outside. When they can do this, their hunger to explore the meaning of life will inevitably draw them away from the darkness, within to the light of understanding, compassion, love, and what truly is important in life. On your dark side, you have obsessed, overly serious, and addictive. And then at your best, you've got deep, driven, and inquisitive. And it says here your birthday challenge. Your greatest challenge is developing a sense of humor. The way forward is to understand that if you take yourself too seriously, you will lose the sense of perspective and objectivity. You need to make good judgments. I like that. That is so beautiful. Just wonder, there's a problem with LinkedIn as well. One of those days. One of those days. Okay, no, it doesn't want to be removed. So let's just do that. Then let's see who we've got. How interesting. It is interesting when I read mine. Oh, hi, Alwyn. Okay, so we've got Alwyn here. Alwyn is a friend of mine that worked with me when I worked at Eurosteel. So let's read his. His is the 12th of December. And then I'll do Kevin. So let me just go up and do it. Who have I got? Okay, so let's do Brit. Brit was first, the 26th of April. Okay, let's read Brit's 26th April. So, Brit, this is for you. The birthday of the beautiful logic. Although those born on April 26 can be bold and visionary in their plans, one of their defining characteristics is a meticulous attention to detail. Making sure everything is cut to the right size and shape matters greatly to them. They instinctively understand that for a project to be successful, logical planning and careful preparation is essential. They are pillars of logic and common sense, having considered and worked through all the possibilities and contingencies without losing focus on their ultimate objective. It's no surprise that they are often found presiding over smooth-running projects. They are often greatly admired for their dependability, efficiency, and as a great self-starter, their independence. They are highly confident in their abilities. There is a risk, however, that they become rigid in their beliefs and dismiss any other way but their way. This controlling tendencies can have a damaging effect on personal and professional relationships. They need to learn to respect diversity of opinion and the individuality of others. Until the age of 25, their stubbornness is likely to dominate. But after the age of 26, they may become more flexible in their thinking and in their approach to life by studying and communicating. After the age of 56, they feel the need to be close to those they love and care for. Throughout their lives, they need to make sure that their love of logic, order, and detail does not estrange them from their heart. They need to understand that perfecting themselves is not a way to a fulfilling life. The sooner they can start getting in touch with their feelings and the feelings of others, the sooner they can enjoy a more balanced and healthy life. In their dedication to perfection, they can become isolated from others. Learning to embrace and enjoy the inconsistencies of others will help them feel less lonely. Once they understand that human beings aren't perfect or logical, there is no reason why their inspired and productive strategies can't help them achieve and even exceed their goals. On your dark side, you've got isolated, stubborn, and controlling, but at your best, you've got rational, dependable, and independent. Your greatest challenge is learning there are no exact moral measurements. The way forward is to understand that people, yourself included, are not statistics or geometry. In human terms, perfection is being imperfect. How's that, Britt? Do you think it's close? So we have, I think I went down too far now. So we did Brits. I think Olvain is next, and then we'll do Kevin. Olvain is the 12th of December, which is in 10 days. Awesome. So let's read the 12th of December. So we've got stupid thing popping up here the whole time. The birthday of the outspoken teacher. People born on December 12 often feel that they have an important message to deliver to the world, one that they believe will help others progress and learn. They also long to broaden their mind through study and travel, and as well as being mentally agile, they also tend to be physically agile, enjoying traveling about from place to place or experience to experience. These people these people's insatiable appetite for knowledge and experience is heavily influenced by their powerful desire to make a tangible, beneficial, and enlightening contribution to the mental dexterity to the lives of others. Colleagues and friends will often admire their mental dexterity and their ability to identify areas in need of improvement and communicate their remedial visions to those around them in ways that are truly memorable. Until the age of 39, there is an emphasis on their lives on the need for order and structure. These are the years when they are most likely to feel boxed in or tied down, and the struggle between their desires to establish themselves and their thirst for adventure can be complicating and confusing for them. After the age of 40, there is an important turning point when they are likely to become even more experimental in their approach to life, and when the drive toward freedom will be particularly strong. The term midlife crisis would not be inappropriate here, and these people may suddenly feel the need to make dramatic changes in their personal and professional lives. These people must never forget that they possess a tremendous amount of willpower, and when they finally devote themselves to a worthy career and set themselves clear goals and objectives, they have all the ambition and talent they need to be a success. When it comes to their personal life, if they can channel some of their energy inward to develop their intuition and spirituality, they will be able to draw on their extensive knowledge and life experience to realize their ambitions of delivering an empowering message of hope, love, positive expectation to the world. Dark side, scattered, unaware, materialistic. At your best, informative, interesting, and dramatic. Your greatest challenge is overcoming the feeling of being boxed in. The way forward is to understand that until you can generate a sense of freedom and excitement from within, no matter how many times you change your circumstances, you will sooner or later feel trapped. That is very beautiful and so true because I know you. But in any case, dit gaan baie goed met my, Mandy. Hallo, hallo. How interesting. Ilse, kan jy my sien? Ek kan jou nie sien nie. Well, that's me. I'm glad that is so accurate. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Mandy. You can put your birthdays in. I'm reading guys' birthday dates. Hi, Hollywood. Nice of you guys to come. I'm so glad you guys joined me because I'm all alone today, so the company is amazing. So you guys can put your birthdays in there, and then I can read them. We've got Alvain's so far. We've done Alvain's. I'm going to do Kevin's as well, and then I'm done with the birthdays. If anybody else wants a birthday, you are more than welcome to just chuck your birthday, just the date. I don't need the year, so you don't need to give me your age. Just your date, and then I can read you something interesting. So we're doing Kevin, June 17th. So, Kevi, this is yours. It says the birthday of the influential example. People born on the 17th are often strong and inspirational individuals who believe everyone has it within them to follow their dreams. A fascinating combination of creativity and structure. They know how to conform, but also have a vivid imagination that they want to explore and, if possible, profit from. Demanding a lot of themselves and the people they live and work with, whatever situation they are in, they are likely to be excellent performers and a forceful presence. Although they set terrific examples to others and people are drawn to their vitality and masterful demeanor, if they find themselves in a role of mentor, they may struggle. This is because they are often too wrapped up in their own goals, lacking the patience and understanding to listen to others. There is a danger that they might stretch the truth if they feel it serves a purpose. This isn't motivated by a desire to deceive, but simply so their arguments sound more plausible. But if they don't control this tendency to manipulate the truth, they can become known as untrustworthy. Such is their influence, however, that even if the exaggeration is uncovered, others may still continue blindly to follow their lead. It is important, therefore, for them to impose a strict ethical code on themselves. Until the age of 34, they may focus on emotional relations, security, and family. For their own happiness, they need to ensure that they take advantage of opportunities to discover their feelings and learn how to express them to others. After the age of 35, they enter a period of strength, power, and confidence. These are the years when they come into their own as an inspirational leader or pioneer. Above all, the forceful but imaginative and progressive individuals born on this day are fired by progressive ideals. Once they develop an understanding of the effect that their intensity has on others, not only will this give their ideals a better chance of gaining acceptance, it will also bring them greater emotional fulfillment. On the dark side, impatient, detached. At your best, influential, physical, and creative. Your greatest challenge is explaining how you feel. The way forward is to understand that opening up to others does not weaken your position. It strengthens it because other people will find it easier to relate. Oh, Kevin, that's very, very beautiful. Oh, Mama Goti, I'll do you the 24th and then the July the 18th. Nelson Mandela was born on July the 18th. Then it's no, I'm lying. It's June the 18th. Sorry, Nelson. I think I got your birthday wrong. My mom's on the August the 24th. That is very strange because my mom's on the August the 24th, and you on my daughter's birthday as well, which is the 8th of November. And then my dad's the 17th of July. Wait, what? Mama Gotti, that is weird. My dad's on July the 17th, my mom on the 24th of August, my brother the 21st of August, and my daughter on the 8th of November. Our family's birthdays are so close. It's actually scary. Let me read you the 24th, and then I'll tell you if it's the same as my mom. So 24th of August is the birthday of the questioning discoverer. People born on August 24th are blessed with a sharp and questioning mind that is at its best when untangling mysteries, uncovering the truth, or making new discoveries. They don't like to take anything at face value, and even the opinions of experts or at their most trusted friends will not stop them searching through the evidence to catch what others might have missed and to discover their version of the truth. Their questioning mind makes them hard to manipulate, and people may rely heavily on them for advice and insight. Indeed, they often have a reputation for being someone whose opinion and approval others can trust. They could be said to mistrust anything or anyone that appears simply or straightforward. So strong that so strong is their belief that hidden complexities lies beneath the surface. Paradoxically, I think I pronounced that right, although their self-image is of being very simple and direct, what they do not realize is that they are just as complex as the subjects of their investigations, if not more so. Although they never miss the facts, they can have a tendency to miss out on their observation. What is Although they never miss the facts, they can have a tendency to miss out on their observations, what is subtle or unspoken, and their accuracy and creativity would be enhanced if they learn to develop their intuition. Until the age of 29, there is an emphasis on their lives, on practicality and efficiency. But after the age of 30, there is a turning point when they may focus on relationships and opportunities to develop their talent and creative potential. They need to take advantage of these opportunities using sharp-witted intellectual skills and their creative potential, as these will boost their chances of success professionally and personally. Throughout their lives, intense inner forces may cause them to alternate between extremes of uncertainty and a sense of being special. If they can cultivate positive thinking, trust their deeper intuition, and learn to manage worry positively, these gifted and astute discoverers who leave no stone unturned in their quest for knowledge have the potential to enrich their lives of others with fruits of their observations. On the dark side, stifling, overcritical, and suspicious. That is so true. Observant, insightful, and thorough is at your best. And then your greatest challenge is listening to your intuition. The way forward is to understand that knowledge and information can only take you so far. Sometimes the only way forward is to let go and trust your instincts. I'll do that. Hallo Mandy, dit gaan goed met my, dankie met jou. So you guys want to come on? Okay, let me just read all the comments and then we can see. I did not choose my wealth though, lol. I choose IVF, date, and children. But yes, I love unconventional and I adore lists and schedules. Talking about lists, my ex-boss, Ivan, shout out to Ivan. He used to give everybody lists to do when he goes on leave. Even his wife, he will give her a to-do list. And I was like, dude, I'm going to send you guys the link now. Morning, Sherry. Morning. Mama G, tell Ilse I'll join her. Good morning, Ilse. Hi, Hollywood. Kevin, you know how to knit too. Wild, you're a crafty fella. He is. And how accurate is these things? Are you on the December the 30th? A whole standstill and New Year's bash for Hollywood on her birthday. That's amazing. So I'm going to do that one for you now. Your father-in-law's the 17th of July. Okay, so I'll do the 18th of July for you now. For sure, my girl is a lawyer and sees through bullshit easily. She's just 11. That's amazing. I'm so glad you guys like that I'm reading out of this. So let me do the two that's on here, and then I'll send you the guys the link, and then Mandy and Mama Gotti can join me. So we had Mandy's the 2nd of May. 2nd May. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Now, first I have to go January, February, March. It's like ABC. Okay, so the 2nd of May, it says the birthday of the inquisitive honesty. The birthday of inquisitive honesty. People born on May 2nd have a no-nonsense approach to life, believing in results, not theories. Although others admire them for their intellectual gifts and abilities to organize their original thoughts with logic coherence, they do have a tendency to express themselves bluntly. Fiercely honest, they don't ever set out to wound others, as they are naturally inclined towards cooperation and harmony. They simply believe that the best way to effect improvement is to tell others exactly how it is. These people are blessed with inquisitiveness and a great insight into the workings of the human mind. It's not easy to fool them, and they don't believe in pulling the wool over anyone's eyes. They will be respected for their intelligence and honesty, but their bluntness may sometimes come across as as insensitivity. Oh, as insensitivity, earning them unnecessary enemies. They should use their intelligence and insight into human nature to avoid this. They also should avoid gossiping, even though this is not fueled by malice but more by their natural curiosity. It can upset others. Respecting the privacy of others is important between the ages of 19 and 49, during which there is emphasis on communication and exchanging ideas. After the age of 49, they may feel the growing importance of getting in touch with their own feelings as well as those of others. As perfectionists, they often shine in whatever task is set to them and motivate others to emulate the fantastic organizational skills. Although they can work well in a team, they are at their most productive when they are making individual contributions. This desire to work alone can cross over to their personal life, and in their private life is exactly that, private. Despite their reticence, I don't know what that means. It's RETICENCE. If anybody can help me with that, I would appreciate to know what that means. Otherwise, we'll Google it. They are at their happiest when they feel supported by friends and family. These people are above all intelligent and caring. If they can listen to the honest, if they can listen to the honest advice they give to others and apply it to themselves, they have the potential to achieve outstanding success, whatever path in life they choose. On the dark side, they're tactless, demanding, and a workaholic. At your best, you're generous, ambitious, and realistic. Your greatest challenge is learning to be more sensitive to the feelings of others. My tongue is sticking to the roof of my mouth. The way forward is to understand that people can find it hard to cope with the truth. A gentler way of introducing them is needed. Mandy, don't be so hard on the people. Gee, man. Then we'll do Hollywoods. If there's anybody I missed, just throw it under, just put it in again, because I'm going down. I don't want to miss anybody. So let's do the last day of the year. And then I'll read you guys mine if you guys want to hear mine. If there's no one else. So where's mine? Oh, not mine. Let's get to Hollywoods. Hollywood, let me just get to yours. There we go. Oh no, it's not the last day of the month. December's got 31 days. Oops. So 30th of December, a birthday for the choreographer. People born on December 30th are at their happiest and their best when they are bringing order to confused situations. They are not only gifted in being able to identify what doesn't work or is in need of improvement, they also have the creativity and vision to make effective changes. In many ways, these people are like choreographers who can direct and coordinate the details with the bigger picture in mind. At times, it may seem unclear what their intentions are, but in the end, everything always seems to come together. Their ability to motivate, inspire those around them, perform at the ability to motivate, inspire those around them to perform at their best makes them successful leaders. They can occasionally be prone to half-glass empty approach to life, but this doesn't mean they don't know how to have fun. Quite the opposite. They can appreciate humor and the lighter side of life, and loving, relaxing, and having fun with friends. It is just that they are practical realists and will always consider worst-case scenarios in their game plan. Their decisive tendency to make immediate change of others to coordinate collective efforts can have excellent results, and they are often on the cutting edge when it comes to the professional life. One personality trait that can block their progress, however, is that they can at times come across to others as disinterested because they are a person of few words. When they do speak, however, Others will often be stunned by their perceptiveness, but working on their communication skills will benefit them considerably in both their personal and professional lives. Before the age of 21, they are likely to have been cautious in their approach to life, but after the age of 22, there are opportunities for them to be more adventurous, more independent, and less influenced by the opinions of others. They should take advantage of these opportunities to express their individuality, because once they come to realize how creative and capable they can be, their self-confidence will flower and they will attract all the success and happiness they deserve. That's so beautiful. On the dark side, misunderstood, negative, and stressed. At your best, perceptive, capable, and authoritative. Your greatest challenge is expressing yourself. The way forward is to understand that explaining yourself or your methods to others builds bridges of understanding. That's very good. That's such a nice description. I did yours just now, Mandy, just before I did Hollywood's. I read the 2nd of May. Alwyn says his mom's also on the 2nd of May. So let me send Mandy and let's do this. I'm just sending this code. Hang on for a sec. There we go. Mama got. Oh. I almost sent this to the wrong person. Can you imagine someone popping up here and I've got no idea who it is? That would be hilarious. Really, that would be funny. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Mama Gotti, I sent you the link. And then we can. Let's do. Where am I now? I'm here. Hello. So I sent Mama Gotti the link, and then I'm Mandy. If you want to pop up, and then for the last 20 minutes, you guys can tell me what you've been up to. Thanks for joining me, bringing up some guests today, some of our loyal viewers, and showing you their beautiful faces. Mandy, I'm just looking for your name on my messenger. It feels weird as fuck. I'm using my F word to talk to myself and nobody's answering me. So I usually talk to myself and then I don't want anybody to answer me, but nobody's watching me at that stage. So there you go, Mandy. Hope to see you guys soon. And then is there anybody else that wants me to do a birthday for them? We can do... I'm sending it on Messenger. I'm sending it on Facebook Messenger because that's the only link that I've got open right now. And if you guys can share, like, and subscribe to the channel, that's the only way we're going to get out the messages and the shows. I mean, the H show had an amazing show. Hi, Donna. You want to give me your birthday, Donna, and then I can read you a little description on your birthday. So the guys had a wonderful show on the H yesterday with the Guitar Project. Guys, go check it out. And then yesterday's interview with who was on yesterday? I can't even believe that it's Thursday already, so I can't remember. But this week we had so many interesting guests on the show, so please go and share your favorite episodes to your pages, and then we can get the message out there and share the Delight website as well. On the Boneyard we also go live, and then what we do is we tell the people about the properties of what the CBD, the light CBD sachets have in. So if you share that, the love of music and everything as well, we'd appreciate that. It just gets the word of the product and of our show and everything out there, of the light channel out there, because we give you guys a shout on those channels every time we go live as well. So let's do the 20. I see Mama Gotti just pitched up, so I'm gonna do Donna's and then I'll quickly bring in Mama Gotti. So let's do the 23rd of November. Happy birthday for the 23rd of November. That was just now. 23. 23. Oh, and the Victor Tango show's on tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So, guys, please go set a reminder on the Victor Tango show as well. If I think, yeah, it's Thursday. I'm so confused. It's been a long week. 23rd of November. Donna, this is for you. The birthday of sweet confrontation. People born on the November 23rd know how to think on their feet, and their wit and grace make them much sought after, both at home and at work. They have a way with words and seem to know exactly the right thing to say at exactly the right time, whether they are confronting a friend, presenting at work, or talking sweetly to their lover. When their communication skills are combined with their intelligence and originality, these people have the ability to make a significant and benevolent contribution to society. There is a side to them, however, that seems to draw them irresistibly to confrontational people or situations. This often happens when their inspirational aims are challenged in any way. They may even go so far as to provoke unnecessary arguments to make their positions clear. If they are not careful, tension can become a constant theme in their lives, starting early in their childhood. They may have been in conflict with parents or teachers and continuing right through their lives with colleagues, partners, friends, and loved ones. This can be an extremely negative and difficult pattern to break, especially as they aren't good at handling conflict despite their attraction to it. They can suffer greatly when others launch a counterattack on them and target their hidden insecurities. Until the age of 28, they are likely to be concerned with issues of freedom and expanding their horizons through education, study, or travel. But after the age of 29, they are likely to develop a more pragmatic, orderly, and structured approach to life, with a powerful emphasis on achieving their professional goals. If they want to avoid roadblocks to their success and spending a great deal of time alone, it is crucial for them to learn to avoid engaging in conflict for the sake of it. This this is because once they have learned to choose their battles wisely, they can save their energy for what really matters, developing their outstanding potential for becoming authoritative, innovative, expressive, and above all, truly motivational role models. On the dark side, argumentative, isolated, and critical. At your best, innovative, free spirited, and discerning. Your greatest challenge is stepping away from confrontation. The way forward is to understand that stepping back from situations can develop the objectivity you need to deal more effectively with them. That was very beautiful. So, guys, I welcome our beautiful viewer. I don't know which side she's going to pop up. Mama Gotti, hi. You're on mute.
I did. I muted myself.
No
I
worries,
had
no worries.
to. I had the
Thank you
kids in
so
and
much
out.
for joining us, guys. This side. This is Mama Gotti from Michigan. She is a
Yeah.
very loyal viewer of ours. Mama Gotti, can you please tell the viewers that don't know you a little bit more about yourself, where you're coming from?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. This is super fun.
Oh, thanks for popping
I'm
in.
super just geeked to be here. I'm smiling a little bit too hard, probably.
No, smile away.
I tried to fix my hair in the camera and it's reversed, so that was cute. No, I live in Michigan. We're in the Detroit area, a city called Warren. Most people don't know it, so we just say Detroit to the internet people. I'm a homeschooling mama. I have 2 children that stay home here and 3 grown stepkids that don't come around much. And they're doing their own thing. I'm married to Danny. He's on here sometimes. And yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm really excited to have the holidays done with because of the anxiety part of it.
Oh, yes.
You know, anxious just talking about that for a second. But yeah, like you said, I really like to get the holiday shopping done. And then I think I'll be able to enjoy the family part a lot more, you know?
Yes, yes. Have you always been a homeschool mama, or was it due to the COVID that you decided to start
No.
homeschool?
So I hated school. That's
Even
not
me.
uncommon, right? So I hated school. And so I had a hard time with it myself. And my experience was that the school system didn't educate me. I came to school tired. I partied. I came to school tired. I slept a lot. I didn't get educated. The teachers didn't make me do my schoolwork. And So my experiences with the teachers were, they were running the institution, and it was a bad institution, and I didn't feel comfortable there. I didn't feel welcome there, and I didn't have any joy there at all. It was misery. And I think a lot of people can relate to going to school and being like, why is this what life's about? You know, when I had my stepson, who I raised from 4 until 15, when he was 15, he chose to go live with his mother. But while I had him, I put him through the public system, and that went really, really horribly. I saw a lot of the same. My son's ADHD, my older son, his name's Daniel, and he struggled with sitting still, and they could not educate him. He wouldn't pick up a pencil. So every week we were doing schoolwork at home. And so after struggling with them and having meeting after meeting, like I would set the next meeting at the meeting, because I was like, this isn't going to work. Now you want my ADHD son to write an agenda and keep track of his stuff. Like, that's your cure. Your cure to making him do work is making him also organize the work he's not doing. Like, come on. You know, he needed more help than that. He needed more one-on-one, and I wasn't getting any help. So I took him out of school, my choice. His mom and dad both backed me up. And because I had that authority over my child at that time, I was raising him that way. And they both fully supported it. And I brought him homeschool, but I did it online. We did My Virtual Academy. It's a really great online program for people thinking about homeschooling, who are scared to do it by themselves with their own curriculum. And they provide a computer, they provide everything that he needed. And because he loved video games, it was structured in a way where, you know, you do the work and you see immediately this assignment affected my whole math grade for the whole school year. And they could see the immediate results. For him, that spoke to him, and it helped him engage and see how his efforts affect his status and his education. It helped connect with him a little bit more. It really still didn't help him absorb the energy of, not the energy, I mean to say the actual curriculum, the knowledge of it. So now we could get the work done easily, but he still wasn't really connecting with it. He really didn't have any joy for it, and he really wasn't learning. He was just getting the work done. And that was one of my biggest lessons in the beginning of becoming a homeschooler and beginning this transition from a mom who sends my child to public school to a mom who does things differently.
I can imagine that it was a huge
right.
I know what Afrikaans word is. A huge shift from
transition. Yeah. And so when I had my children, my littles, with my husband, and I couldn't put them into an institution that for me didn't work, that he didn't trust, that he didn't feel like, you know, with the bullying, and there's always been bullying, that's not new.
Always.
It's character building a little bit, I get that, but you know, these days it goes a bit far. And so I just started training my daughter, even at home, even from, I was seeing her the ABCs, and I just continued even from birth to talk to her like a grown-up. And everything is a teachable moment. And that's kind of how we fell into it. When she became around 5 or so, we utilized some public assistance to get her speech therapy for her articulation. She went right through that. She's really, really doing well. And then my son as well, he's on the spectrum, but he also has some struggles with his speech. But they are both doing homeschooling, and we're doing really well with it. It worked well for us. I mean, what I could say is it's maybe not for everyone, but we really enjoy it. And I love giving the children assignments and trying to find a fun way, especially when they were younger. Now they're getting a little more into the books and stuff, but a fun way for them to connect with it, or something motivating for them to want to do it. Because
exactly, school doesn't have to be hard work. School's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy it. I also never enjoyed school, so I know that you use the Delight product. Hey, you use Brandon's product.
Well, I'm actually so excited to try it. It's coming in the mail, and it was supposed to come yesterday, so I'm watching like a hawk. I cannot wait. Like, I'm a user of marijuana. I've been self-medicating since I was probably 12. It helps with my anxiety. It helps me feel normal. And so I can't wait for this product to come because I'm actually going to abstain from smoking when I get it and just do it and see if that can't work for me. And I can't wait to give reviews on that. I'm really excited.
Are you going to give it to your son with ADHD as well? Are you going to try it on them?
Well, my son's not, he doesn't have ADHD. He's on the spectrum. So he has sensitivities like, like the way things feel. He will not wear denim, or loud noises may upset him, or even if it's not a loud noise, if he's not interested in hearing me sing around the house, that's very upsetting. And he's like, oh, you know, and I'd rather just stop and give him that peace because I don't want to take his peace away if I can help it, kind of thing. But he doesn't look in your eyes when you're speaking, or the way he has. His room's not tidy, but there's certain things in certain places that we do not touch because that is his scene, his little army guy scene. We don't touch that. So yeah, he's not ADHD. I don't think he is. I've never had him tested. And honestly, I've never had him tested for the spectrum either, but my girlfriend's got 3 autistic kids, and she has a wealth of knowledge on it. And she's pointed out a lot of these things that, okay, he's not autistic, but he definitely has some traits. So he definitely is on the spectrum because of the amount of traits that we were able to.
Okay, awesome. Can you tell us what a day in the life of a stay-at-home homeschool mom looks like?
Well, my kids were wondering why I got dressed up today. And I was like, I might be going on the internet. So that was different.
People might see me today.
Yeah. No makeup. Just that's me. So we wake up when we want to, and we go to sleep when we want to, and the kids have their school lessons, but they do them when they want to. I have a style called unschooling. I didn't know it was called that, but since I've gathered with other homeschooling moms in a co-op over the years, they've told me that that's what my style is. And that basically means that it's like child-led. So yes, they do have to do work, but I want them to be happy about it. So here's your math. Here's your English. We'll be doing these spelling words today. We are using Duolingo for English to learn Spanish this year. We use our city magazine that they, the weekly magazine that they send. We use that to read and follow current events in our city for news and current events. And then we'll do other things like my son is joining wrestling, actually starts today. And so
enjoy.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get my daughter in too, because she was in before and we don't have anything else going on for her right now. They want to put her in, she wants to do basketball, but she can't because it's on the same days as wrestling, and wrestling has to come first because it's awesome.
It sounds like
yeah.
busy with something.
So we go to church on Sundays. On Wednesday, the kids have their youth group that they go to, and we're usually done with our school routine by 1 o'clock. It's kind of tricky. People are like, well, how do you get the kids to do the work if you don't make them do the work? And this is how. This is how.
Please tell us.
If you need help with anything, I will sit down and I'll do it with you. And you can do it whenever you want. But at 5 o'clock, mom's done helping with school because now I got to work on dinner and nighttime routine stuff. Yes. So anytime through the day until 5 o'clock. If you don't have your schoolwork done, you can't have screen time. You can't go outside to play with your friends if they come knock in. You can't go to youth group. You can't go to wrestling. You can't. So you want to get your work done so that you can play, because in life you have to know that to go do fun stuff, you have to get your responsibilities done first. And so I just leave it to them. And sometimes they make a mistake or they make a choice that they're not very happy with. So yeah,
that
then
is so amazing.
They learn to do it themselves.
I take my hat off to you because I am not built to be a stay-at-home mom. My kids are in school and everything, and I think it takes a special kind of mom to school. I think that's why parents are so good at sending their kids to school, because then they can have peace while the kids are at school.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie. It's not easy. I mean, it's flexible, and that's wonderful because I'm such an anxious, weird person that I need flexible. Like my son will come and he'll be having anger and he'll need me to hold him for 45 minutes until his anger goes away. And so that could be really, really mentally and physically draining to constantly be calm and patient and kind and loving. And I want my son, that's who I want to be, but when you're like that constantly and that's your job constantly, but you got to also do life, we got shower time and we got to make our grocery list and I got to make meals and laundry and dishes and house cleaning. I wash the dog and take the dog out and all these things together, but also stay nice all the time. And I'm like, I don't get to just chill out. And my chill out time is this show. So when I come in here and I shut the door and I'm like, you guys work on your school and I'll be in here and leave me alone until my coffee time is over. But they're 9 and 11, so they can independently work and stuff. But that's my happy place. I come recharge in here, I relax, and then I go do the rest of my day. But
we are happy to be part of your happy place. We are very happy to be part of your happy place, and we are blessed to have you as a viewer, and all your comments that you always comment and interact and give the best advice, and you're just open and honest and raw, and we really appreciate that. We really appreciate our viewers. I mean, if it's not for you guys, I would sit here really talking to myself.
I love our little community.
You only see me on the show and you literally bailed me out when you saw that I needed help, and I really appreciate it. That's amazing. You don't get that often. And I really hope, what are you hoping for Christmas? What gift are you hoping for?
Well, my husband and I don't generally do gifts for each other. And we don't really celebrate things like that. We buy the kids presents. But our whole marriage has been all about saving up for this and saving up for that and getting this done, because first I married a man with a vasectomy and I wanted kids. So first we had to save up for a vasectomy reversal, then we had to save up for IVF, and it was just always, then we had to save up for a house, and then we had kids, so then we're always catching up with that. But so we haven't just recently got back to, okay, we finally have children, our house, our debt is almost gone, we should actually start celebrating and participating, because we didn't do Valentine's Day or anniversaries or birthdays. We saved our money and we chose not to. We chose that there was more important things to put our money and our time into, because what was most important to me was being a mom and doing whatever the kids need. And he supported that. And so that was really, really great. But just recently, now the kids are 9 and 11 and they're starting to be more independent. And I'm like, we really should start attending to ourselves now, because I'm like, they're not going to need me much longer before they're going to be out with their friends and I'm going to be sitting around bored by myself. So what I hope to get is, the thing we've been working on is having a computer built for me, because I'd like to start my own YouTube channel also. And I love the support that we have here, but I'd like to make a channel separate for homeschoolers.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, or moms or whatever, but it would be like this, but a different audience, because it would be more for
homeschool mommies and that kind of thing. Oh, I wish you all the luck.
Thank you. But I'd hope it'd be just like this, where it had this wonderful community of people that show up to the show, who comment, who how many people in the show in the comments now, I'm friends with them on Facebook. It's so amazing that I can start to see little pieces of everybody's life and get to know people, and people are starting to message and say hi, and I say hi, but I'm really, you see me right now, I'm on my public faces on, but I'm a little bit shy, so if I don't text you back, you could have caught me in an anxious day. So I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there. I'm weird. I'm sorry.
I'm also weird. I was shaking in my boots before the show started.
Oh, I know. I was like, take 3 breaths. Inhala, exhala.
We survived. We swam. What I
Yeah.
want to say, you'll definitely attract those kind of people because you attract what you are, and you're a beautiful soul. You'll definitely
Oh,
attract
thank
beautiful
you.
souls to your channel, and I
Oh,
wish
thank
you
you so
all the
much.
best. Hey, Mr. Jaybird's here. So I don't know. I'm gonna read the guest bio. You can stand there, and then we can play. And then if he's
Okay.
not here by then, maybe we can bring Brett in.
Okay.
He's here. Okay, so Mama Gotti, I'm going to read the bio. Thank you so much for joining me. You are
Thanks
an
for having
angel,
me.
and I hope you have
Oh,
an amazing day today. Thank you
oh, this
so
was
much
so
for
fun.
joining us.
Thank you.
I'm quickly going to read the bio for you guys. So we are interviewing special guest Casey Gray. Casey Gray is the Conscious Builder, an award-winning sustainable building company. Our area of expertise is in building to higher standards such as Passive House, R2000, Net Zero Energy, and Energy Star. I am committed to educating you on how to build and live more consciously. I have hands-on experience in building successful businesses and everyday work on improving myself. I do my best to walk the talk instead of talk the walk. So I'm very excited about this because I know a couple of people that want to go off the grid and all those kind of things. So I think this is going to be very interesting.
Oh,
Again, Mama,
yeah.
thanks so much for joining me. You are a superstar. I'll see you on the flip side. And then I'll
All
see you
right.
guys after the ad. And then we interview the special guest.
Yay. Thanks so much.
Bye, Mama Gotti.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
I'm all by myself. Wrong button. Good morning. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hi, Casey.
Good morning.
Can you hear us fine?
I can. Can you hear me?
We can. Let me just put in this because the noise of the highway here next to me is just going to make me only hear half the conversation. Sorry about that. There we go. Hi, Casey. So can you tell us where you're from?
From Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, you're from Canada. Oh, that's
Yes.
nice. I actually have a friend from Canada visiting me now.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. And you build the houses. What can you tell us about your company?
Well, I guess there's a lot. I guess depends on where you want me to just start.
Okay, so let me ask this. Let me ask this first. How do you? I wrote it down because I know nothing about construction, nothing about building houses, nothing about anything you said. So let's start with those words in your bio. The R2000 and the Eco Solar or those kind of things. Can you tell us the difference about?
Yeah, so all of those in the bio, I guess those are all building certifications, at least here in Canada. Some of them are across the world, like Passive House certification, for example, is one of the most rigorous building standard certifications. That started in Germany. So it's actually Passive House, like HAUS, and which is passive building, right? Not just a house. So house in from what I understand is building in German. So that would be one of the most rigorous building standards. And it's really built around reducing the energy consumption of a building, around heating, cooling, and water heating, a lot of it, right? So those are our biggest energy consumptions within a house. Now, what's happening is that plug loads are becoming quite large because of all of the technology that we have, but that's you can't really model that because everybody lives differently. You can only model certain things. And then everything kind of after that is, just a lesser of a building standard, but still above building code. So R2000 would be a Canadian building code, which seems to be going away these days. The new one is net zero energy certification, or net zero energy ready, which is essentially the same thing, but without solar panels. So the idea is like your house is ready to be net zero, but it isn't until you put the solar panels on.
Oh, okay.
And now that's all that is not to be confused. For example, net zero is not to be confused with like off grid, for example, especially where we live. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. What's the difference between off the grid and how you guys live now?
So net zero, like that whole certification, it's all based on modeling, right? So a lot of it, we don't do the energy modeling. We work with energy advisors that do that. And we work with architects. Like I'm a carpenter, we're builders. We manage the construction portion, and we kind of bring all the pieces together. So the difference is that when you're aiming for like a net zero home, is you're still connected to the grid. So you're still using electricity, but you're feeding electricity back in. And what the idea is to offset your energy costs throughout a year. So here it gets difficult to become off grid because of the shorter days and winters and what we have to deal with, snow covering solar panels and so forth. So if you were to build a house that's off the grid here where we live in Ottawa, you have to plan for the worst day or the worst week of the year, let's say, as opposed to averaging it out over the entire year. Because in the summer, you'll overproduce. In the winter, you won't produce enough. And that's when you need heating, right? The summer we need air conditioning as well. So it's a different approach, and it really depends, is what's the right way to do it. I don't think there really is a right way. Like that's why we call the company the Conscious Builder, because it's about bringing all of these options to the clients, to the people who want to follow our YouTube, to everyone that we're educating, that here's the options, you make the decision that works for you. So you want to make a conscious decision, right? But in order to do that, to your point, you're saying you don't know anything about building houses, right? Which is fine. That's the majority of people. I see our role as getting the information out there so that people are aware of what's actually possible so that they can start asking for it. Because if people aren't aware for it, we won't ask for it, and then it won't be developed and it doesn't get out there. And we need to make a change.
Awesome. What got you into being, in this part of the construction world? I mean, is it something that came from you really trying to improve the environment, or was it something that you recognized that that's the direction the world is moving? What kind of got you into it?
For me, it was really a personal thing. So I've been in construction going on 20 years now. I think I'm 19 years. And I think what you're talking about was schooling and stuff before. Like I wasn't a huge fan of school. Construction was my best class by far, like 98% or something like that. So through high school, that's kind of the direction I went, but I wasn't really thinking the way I was thinking now. It wasn't until my wife and I found out that we were having our first son that my thinking started to change. It was actually at a Tony Robbins event, and everything started to change from that. That was kind of the tipping point, or the beginning of the personal development journey, and really asking better questions and going down that route. And we found out, and I started to ask myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I was thinking like, all right, if we're going to have this little person, we didn't know it was a boy at the time, but this little person is going to be looking up to me. If I'm going to say you can be and do whatever you want, I want to do the same thing. Plus, I want to make sure that this world's a better place than when I left. I want to do my part. I know that it's not just one person that can do it, but I want to make sure that I did everything that I could to make it a better place and to actually lead by example. Because I really think that's the only way to lead, is to just show people what's possible, and then they can choose what they want to do from that point, right? It's not up to us to say, do this or do that. It's just, hey, this is what we're doing. It works for us. It works for you. Great, sort of thing, right? So that's kind of the way where it all came from. And that's when I started to ask myself, okay, why am I building? What do I want to build? What am I actually interested in? What can I do using my skills? What can I do to make this world better? And that's kind of where it all started to come into focus. And it's still evolving, right? We're all evolving as humans too. So
well, that's cool that you got that kind of direction through kind of more of introspection. I mean, I've been through and been kind of a assistant leader in some of the things at Tony Robbins events. And it was through a Tony Robbins event where I decided that, money isn't everything. and it's an opportunity to rethink what is your drivers and why. So it's great that you came upon this as something that excites your heart as opposed to just your mind or your pocketbook, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's awesome. So how big is your company, and do you do then like YouTube stuff and things also to help people better understand what you're about and how they could, go about doing, even though they might not be in the Ottawa area?
Yeah, so we're about 15 people now. We have a couple new people coming on in the next month, and we're looking to hire right now. So the construction side is getting busier and busier, but we do a lot on YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel. We have a podcast. If you just search The Conscious Builder, everything will pop up. We're kind of working towards kind of two sides. We have our construction side, which we'll never get rid of. That's where we can provide the service and do a lot of great work, and eventually start doing our own projects, which we're leading towards right now, as well as doing projects. Like everything we do is custom, right? So it's custom renovations or custom homes. But on the media side, which we're starting to put a lot of focus into, is growing into educating contractors, a lot of it. So we started the Conscious Builder Academy, because the idea is like, there's only so many houses we can build, right? There's only so many renovations we can do. We don't want to do them all, but if we can help other people become better at their job, other contractors, and they can avoid the mistakes that we made, that I made through growing this business. Speaking about money, all the money that we've lost, if I can help people avoid that and stay in business and continue to do good work, that's the goal of what the Conscious Builder Academy is, right? And the YouTube channel is education for anybody who wants. It's geared partly towards homeowners, but a lot of it's for contractors as well.
Can you turn a normal house into one of these environmental friendly houses?
Yeah.
That makes sense. How can you turn a normal house, and what will the cost be involved, and where would someone start? What would the first thing be that someone changes on their house?
So I'll start with that last question. So the first place to start would always be with an energy audit, right? You need to have somebody come in and figure out the baseline. We need to know where we're starting, and then we need to figure out where we want to go. Now, how much does it cost? Well, that really depends on where we want to go, right? And that's where you need to make sure you build your team. So it's always what we call an integrated design process. So you need your energy advisor, you need your designer and architect, and you need your contractor. And you need to have them working together from the beginning. And then you, say we're doing your home, it'd be you as the homeowner needs to provide guidance, right? So part of that guidance is how much do you want to spend? It could be broken into phases, right? So maybe it's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, whatever it is. How much do you want to spend, and what are your main goals? With those two things, then we can actually create a plan and then figure out the best way to do it, because there's not a one size fits all. So yes, it's possible to make any home more environmentally friendly, better perform, and like what we focus on is health, comfort, and efficiency, right? We spend, especially now, more time than ever in our houses, and we don't realize how our house, the indoor air quality, is affecting our health, for example. And actually the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, states that indoor air quality is one of the top 5 risks to human health because of everything that's inside, right? And and it's not just your house, but we're inside everything, right? You go, now we're mostly home, but before it was like home, car, or bus, subway, whatever, however you did your transportation to a building, and then the same, and then back home, right? So majority of our time is spent inside. So we focus a lot of time on that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be off grid or net zero. Like, you can ultimately work towards that. But it depends on what your goals are. And the great thing is that technology is getting better and better, right? Solar panels are getting more and more efficient. Batteries are getting better and better, and their capacity is getting better. So there's things that are getting better, and technology, as we know, gets cheaper. The more people that buy it, the more people that use it, the more it changes and gets better, the cheaper it becomes. So these are all things that will help us, hopefully, in the future. So often the house that's already built is the most sustainable home because it's already there, right? So I always say, people, like, if you like where you live, like, let's start with that, right? Let's see what we can work with that. If you want to move, that's a different story. If you want to definitely go off grid, some houses you just can't do it with what we have right now, right? So there's a lot of factors to be considered, and that's where it's just, you need to make sure you have your team built right from the start.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if you go back and you take a look at, some of these older homes, the technology and the insulation and the way that they ran electric and everything was, the technology of the time. But to go back in and tear out the walls in order to replace what was there with something better, you have to also take into consideration what you're doing to the environment also by tearing everything out, by putting new things back in and using additional resources to do that. And it becomes not only maybe difficult to do at all from a green perspective or a net zero perspective, but it's also very expensive.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing you'll need to consider too is how you're putting things back together, because a lot of people, and this is something that one of the reasons why we do our YouTube channels, you need to understand building. You need to understand building science to a certain extent, but you don't need to know how to do all the calculations. Like I don't know how to do all the calculations and how to figure out U value of windows and that sort of stuff. But you need to understand how like a wall assembly works and how a whole house works as a system. And by just putting more insulation in, for example, and not doing air sealing could actually make your home a sick home. Like it actually cause issues like mold issues, and which will ultimately affect the people that live in there, right? So you really need to make sure that whoever you're working with understands the building science and will warranty the work, obviously, and can prove and know that it's going to work. So and I think this is really important. So I just want to touch on this if you're okay with it in terms of the assembly is we need to think of our like the assembly, so the envelope of a home, kind of like our bodies, right? Or think of a home as our bodies. So ideally, we want to make the home as airtight as possible. And when I say that, a lot of people are like, well, don't you want your house to breathe? Right? That's what a lot of people will ask me. I'm like, well, yes, you do, but you want your house to breathe like you breathe. You want to control it, right? You want to use your lungs. You don't breathe through your skin. You filter the air through your nose, and then you bring it into your lungs, and then you blow it out your mouth a lot of the time, or however it works, right? But that's basically how it works. And then if you need to sweat or anything like that, it comes out of your skin. So you're not breathing through your skin, you're perspiring through your skin. So we kind of want our house to be the same way. We want to insulate it as well as possible, get as airtight as possible, but allow vapor to travel through that wall if it needs to. But we want to control the air coming into it. But we want air coming into it 24/7, just like we breathe, right? We want that air coming in. And the best way to do that is through a fresh air system, which is typically an HRV or an ERV. It depends on where you live. HRV is heat recovery ventilator. I know it's a lot of information, but that's why we have our YouTube channel, so people can go there. ERV is actually, most people call it an energy recovery ventilator, but it actually originally stood for enthalpy recovery ventilator, which is the transfer of moisture. And what it does is it's a unit in a home that runs 24/7 if it's the proper unit, and it brings fresh air into the house. As it's doing that, it goes through a core, and stale air from the house leaves the house at the same rate. And they go through the core, but they don't mix. They just transfer the heat, right? So here right now where it's getting colder, if it's, I don't know, I think it's 0 degrees Celsius today. So let's just say it was -10 outside and we have it set to 20 inside or whatever it is. As that air is coming in, that 20-degree air is preconditioning the air that's leaving, that's coming in, so that you don't have -10-degree air coming into your house. You have like 10-degree air coming into your house, or it depends on how efficient your system is. So what that allows you to do is that you're getting fresh air, but you're preconditioning it with air that you already had heated anyways. And this would work in the opposite direction as well. And plus that air gets filtered. Whereas if you don't have a system like this, say you just turn on your kitchen range hood or your bathroom fan, what that does is that it's blowing air out of your house, but it has to bring the air back into your house somewhere. So where's it going to bring that air in? It's going to bring it through all the leaky parts in your house. So if it's -10 outside, it's bringing -10-degree air inside. It's not actually preconditioning it. Plus, it's pulling it through all the pollutants in your wall. So, right? So if you have an old house that has it could be vermiculite in there, right? It could be asbestos in the walls, right? It could be anything in the walls that is just sucking in. It could be mold that it's sucking into your house, right? And maybe you have people chronically getting ill in your house and you're not sure why. It could be the house. It could be stuff that's in the air, right? So these are all things that we need to consider. So understanding that is really important, or at least wanting to understand it so that you're asking your contractor the right questions is important.
I'm trying to. The house that or the house that you're standing in now, is that one of the houses that you've built?
No, this is not. We're kind of in between houses right now. Properties went through the roof when COVID hit where we live, and we're waiting for things, or at least be able to buy. I don't think they're going to come back down at any point, but we're in a friend's house technically that we're kind of taking care of, but we're renting from them until we find the lot, because we want to build or renovate or something again, because we were in a passive house, we sold it. Everything was pulling us into the city. We're on the outskirts of the city in a little town called Manotick, and then when COVID hit, everything changed. So we're like, well, we don't need to go to the city anymore. Let's stay in Manotick. And and then everything just skyrocketed. I think that like real estate around here went up 75%. It's
everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
So,
I'm in South Africa and we can't even afford houses. That friend from Canada, I'd show him the prices of the houses. Yeah. And he says it's easier for him to buy a house, a huge mansion in South Africa than it is to buy in Canada. He says it's ridiculous, the prices in Canada. South Africa. The Canadian dollar, I think, is 14 or 15 rand to the South African rand. So if you do the conversion, you get huge houses for next to nothing.
Right.
Yes.
So if you can work remotely and you can go there and you can get there no problem, then great.
So I want to know is, how do you choose what power source to put? Because you get different, you get hydro and you get solar and you get those kind of things. How do you determine which power source is going to work best for that specific house or area?
Well, where we do our work, like obviously electricity is going to be coming, and that's from hydro. So from a lot of it's from dams around Ottawa, but most people use natural gas for heating, some for cooking as well. But in 12 years of being in business now, we've only actually built 2 houses with natural gas. So we were doing fossil fuel free homes before people started talking about it. Part of the reason a lot of people don't do it is because electricity is pretty expensive here in comparison to natural gas. So it's cheap right now to run natural gas, and the natural gas furnace is also cheap. But the idea is like, whenever we're working with people, obviously they're already thinking a certain way if they're reaching out to us. A lot of them still want to do natural gas. And the 2 houses that we put natural gas in, by the way, they did it because they really wanted radiant heat. So they wanted the boiler, and the best, like an electric boiler is going to it's going to be really expensive to operate. So that's why they went with natural gas. So we still built the homes efficiently, but unfortunately they still went with natural gas for that. So what we often do is say, if you plan on putting solar panels on, say you whether you're going for net zero or not, if you're planning to offset your energy costs, why do natural gas? Because there's always a minimum charge. Right? There's like a $50 charge or something like that every month that you'll never offset. Plus, you can't actually offset your natural gas. Sure, you can do a calculation and say, well, technically I use this much energy, and technically I produce this much energy, so I'm net zero energy, but your costs aren't necessarily going to show that, right? You're going to be overproducing on the electricity side, which you will lose some of that money the way the system works where we are, and you'll never be able to put that natural gas back into the earth, right? So it's a conversation that we have with people. Like I said, we're not going to tell people do it this way or do it that way. I'm going to ask questions to figure out why they want to do what they want to do, and I'm not going to make them feel bad about their decision. Although if I don't agree with it, it's ultimately their decision. Like I said, I'm just giving them the information and they can do what they want with it.
So in your construction up there, do you use a lot of like heat pump type systems as well, where you can leverage kind of the ground itself and helping to moderate some of the costs?
Yep. So, but we're using more air source heat pumps as opposed to ground source heat pumps, because the reason is it's expensive to put in a ground source heat pump. So when you do what I was explaining in terms of the envelope, when you focus on making your envelope more efficient. So for example, if you went full out and you did a certified passive house, that house is already 80 to 90% better than minimum building code, just with the envelope. So the payback period for that ground source heat pump is gone, because now, although a ground source heat pump could save you in theory 40 to 60% on your energy costs where we live, you've already reduced your energy costs by 80 to 90%. So now that 40 to 60 additional percent you're talking is really only 4 to 6 or 8 to 12 sort of thing. You know what I mean? When you do the math. So it's really the ground source doesn't make sense a lot of times. However, air source, if you're going fossil fuel free, air source heat pumps make a lot of sense, and they're getting better and better, and they work in cold climates, even when it's up to minus 27 degrees. And we've, like, the house that we had built, our certified passive house, it was 4,200 square feet, including the basement. It was about 2,500 square feet on the main floor. But when you included the basement, there's a walkout basement. It was 4,200 square feet. That whole house only needed 18,000 BTUs, when a typical home that size needed about, I think it's like 96 or something, as whatever the building code. So the amount of heat was minimal. The trickier part becomes, can you get a system that's small enough, and how do you distribute that heat? Those are the things that we've learned more since we built that 8-9 years ago. But there's better and better systems. Now, that being said, there is a great program. So the natural gas companies around here are realizing that people are getting off of natural gas, right? There's a big push to reduce our carbon footprint. So they're actually testing out programs now where they will actually fund the ground source heat pump loop. So they'll come in, they'll drill the well, run all of the pipes for a ground source heat pump for your home, and then you would just pay a monthly fee, kind of like a rental fee, like on a hot water tank or something, which is common around here. So they're testing it, and we're actually going to look into the numbers for a project that we're doing, or 2 projects actually. So I'm just waiting for some numbers from the energy advisor. So we'll see how that goes, because it's a way to, not have you still have a monthly cost, but it reduces your upfront cost. And it's, in theory, from what I've been told, it shouldn't cost more, because the average homeowner, or even us, even if we're doing more than the average homeowner, will pay more than what Enbridge, the gas company, would pay to put that well in, because they're going to be doing so many. So the cost that to the homeowner should be comparable to what they would have paid if it was all up front. So it might not actually be any additional cost. You're just kind of deferring your payment for 15 or 20 years.
Do you get a lot of backlash from people that do not build sustainable houses, like other construction companies? Or
no, I'm sure we got lots of haters on YouTube and stuff that come up, but that's what I tell my team. I said, if we don't have haters, we're not being loud enough. We should have haters, right? So
I like that. So Mama Gotti's got a question. Yeah, she says, what about the vents then? How do you know they need cleaning? So I'm not sure what vents she's talking about. Yeah.
Would this be vents in the fresh air system that I was talking about?
I think she's probably talking like, in normal houses, you've got your whole system of vents that are, distributing the air from the furnace or the central air conditioning. So oftentimes, depending on where you're at, and as you were talking about, whether you have moisture in the air that could potentially become a condensate on the inside of your vents and potentially create mold or that type of thing. I think that's where we're going with that question.
So it would be the same. Like, we're not changing the system, right? We're kind of adding a system. So you still have to heat and cool your house, and you still change your like around here, your furnace filter. I know, like in the US, because I have some family members in the US, a lot of their ductworks like ran through attics and stuff and insulated. Like, we don't do that here. It doesn't make sense. No. So one of the things, and it doesn't make sense there either. So the idea is you need to consider, like, you need to have a jacket around the outside of your house, right? That you want to make it as airtight as possible. Every time you penetrate that jacket, that's a weak point. That's where air can get in. So ideally, you keep all of your ductwork, especially if it's your heating and cooling, on the conditioned side of the house. So you won't have to worry about condensation or anything like that. So if you're having condensation issues because the ductwork is in the attic, well, maybe there's a way to seal up your attic and actually insulate that and make it a conditioned space as opposed to an unconditioned space. And then, so then the system itself doesn't change. You still change the filters. You You can still get your ducts cleaned if you need to, but if you're on top of changing your filters, you shouldn't have to do that too often. And then there's also going to be the filters within the fresh air system, which is the HRV or the ERV I had talked about, that are usually just removed depending on the system that you put in. Some of them are just removable and you clean them yourself and you put them back in. Some of them are like furnace filters where you have to replace them every couple months or however it may be. Depends on it is something that it depends on where you live too, right? The great thing is that if you're in the city, a system like this actually filters all of the stuff, like all the dirt, all the smog or whatever's out there coming into your house, so you can get better filters for these systems too.
So more like a HEPA kind of a filter.
Yeah, you can for sure on a lot of these systems.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big challenges. Like I live in Las Vegas, and a lot of my ductwork actually goes up through the attic, which gets to be 140, 160 degrees in the summertime. And they've got, these tubes with some sort of insulation around them, but they're still going through the attic, so that especially as you get further and further away from your air handler unit, the heat of the attic is reducing the effectiveness of the cooled air because it's warming it up as it gets to that end. And then you run into problems trying to regulate your home air. So that's really interesting that you're able to keep that ductwork in the insulated part of the house. Or do you actually maybe insulate like along the roof line itself as opposed to over the ceilings, which tends to be the way that we do things here?
No, we most of our houses here are the ceilings. So the difference that our furnace would be like down in the basement, and so everything's kind of, you have your mechanical room down in the basement, then you're gonna have big trunks in your basement. So if you finish your basement, you have bulkheads and stuff to deal with, but everything is down and blowing up as opposed to the being up in the attic and blowing out. Because ideally, like air conditioning, you want to fall from the ceiling, right? Because of the way like warm air rises, right? So
right.
The thing is, you only deal with cooling for the most part in Vegas. So here we got both, but not going to go, put in twice as many ducts so that you can have air conditioning dropping from the ceiling and heat raising from the floor, right? So we always have all of our registers in the floor and blowing up, and then so everything kind of starts in the basement and goes up. But having it in an unconditioned space, whether it's warm or cold, it still doesn't make sense, because that's just opening up issues for like what you just said. Like every time you penetrate, every time there's a duct in that ceiling, and that vapor barrier and that air barrier, more importantly, is a weak point. So there's going to be moisture that's leaking out into that, right? Moisture will just travel through air. Now, luckily in Vegas, you don't have, like, it's drier there, right? You're not going to have, it's not like Florida where they have serious humidity issues. There, like, they got really bad mold and mildew issues because houses aren't built. They're built strong, like, because they want to withstand hurricanes and stuff, but they're not built well in the sense of health, right? They're not built airtight. And it's a different way of thinking. And like, I remember, like, we were down there for a few months at one point, and that's when we were living in our passive house. We, like most houses, if you leave them empty, a lot of times people come back and they'll smell worse, right? If somebody's not living in it. In reality, what happens is that you just get used to the smell. That's how your house likely always smells, but you're just so used to it, you're not picking it up, right? So when you leave the house and you come back, that's actually what's going on, and that you're breathing in every single day. When we left and went to Florida, like when we were staying in these Airbnbs and stuff, like we could tell as soon as we walked in that they weren't healthy. My wife stayed there for 3 months. I came back a couple times during those 3 months, but every time I came back, I walked into our house and it smelled like wood, right? Because it was just fresh air running through it all the time, because our ERVs were running 24/7, and we had a lot of like reclaimed wood throughout the house. But I didn't smell any of the mold or mildew or musty smells. It smelled like wood. That's how it should smell if you do it right.
Oh, wow. We're just used to the smell in South Africa when they burn tires and everything. So everything smells the same. I wanted to ask you, how, because you are in Canada, and I know that the American winters and Canadian winters can be hectic. Do you build houses in the winter as well? How do you manage the extreme weather?
Yeah. We keep working, right? We can't just stop working. Some companies might. Ideally, you get your houses or your projects closed up and you focus on interior work throughout the winter, but it's usually not possible for everything. There's always something we have to do. So it's not terrible. Like working in the snow is sometimes easier than working in the rain. So, because you can just brush snow away as opposed to getting soaked in the rain. So the toughest thing is usually your fingers get cold. I'm not out on site as much. I was last year, but for some YouTube stuff, but now it's a few days sort of thing like that. You might have a few really bad weeks sort of thing, but we try to, it does add to the costs for the clients. So we navigate keeping those costs down with them. And it really depends on scheduling. And there's so many moving parts to construction, right? So especially now, like the whole industry is just is a mess. And I'm doing a webinar in a couple of weeks in a week to help contractors to navigate, keeping jobs from going south because of delays and labor shortages and all sorts of stuff that's going on. And it's all just coming down on the contractors that are running the jobs because they're the ones that deal with the homeowners. Right. So there's just a lot of moving parts and sometimes you just got to work through the weather.
I was just looking at your website, which I'll bring up here, and I'll go back up to the top, but I really had some questions on this 3-day cottage thing. So this is your actual website, right? Where you can go in and learn it, but also connect with you. And looks like the academy's in there.
Yep.
And then you come down here to this featured project. What is this all about?
So that's the one that I was working through the winter on last year. So that's a series that we did with a homeowner that wanted to build her dream cottage. So there's 10 episodes. I think we have 8 episodes released now, 2 more coming out over the next couple of weeks. And it explains how to build a net zero cottage and what we had to do, at least in our climate here, right? It's going to vary depending on where you build.
So it's kind of like taking you through the whole process. I get used to saying process now because up in Canada, you say process. Down here, we say process. Yeah. It's interesting. I used to do some consulting and things up in Canada. And I'm like, oh, I can tell you're Canadian and you can tell I'm American by the way we say certain words. So it kind of takes you from basically raw land up to a complete home and talk about the different things that you did in order to make it net zero?
Yeah, we go from design, raw land. There was actually a cottage on the property originally, so tearing down that cottage as well, to sealing the envelope. So the homeowner's finishing the interior herself with her partner. Her name's Kim. So they're doing like all the interior finishing. So we got the foundation done. We got the shell done, the envelope, exterior cladding, windows, doors, all of that, mechanical equipment installed and stairs. And they're basically from drywall onwards is what they're doing.
Okay. So almost, in commercial world, kind of a white shell type of a scenario is how you're finishing it off. And then they take it from there to complete it the way that they want to with their colors and anything that's more of an accessory almost than it's all the pretty makeup stuff on the inside. We did the outside for the most part. Actually, they were doing the deck too. But it's all the pretty makeup stuff that people see at the end of the day. So I like to say, like, a lot of our work, we don't have a lot, like, that's one of the reasons why we do YouTube too, is that we can showcase a lot of our work, because a lot of our work that we do is not necessarily like photo worthy for like awards, because we don't do the finishing a lot of times. Homeowners will do the finishing. So we're doing all the stuff that people feel right when they're in the house, the stuff that makes it healthy, comfortable, and efficient. But that's not the stuff that you see, right? It's not the stuff that people, that makes a great TV show or wins the award at the award ceremony. You know what I mean? So right.
So there's a lot of it's the stuff that's inside the bones that's important. It's kind of like what makes everything work, right? Even I remember reading the Steve Jobs book, and like they were so like with the Mac, they were so concerned, or he was so concerned about what the inside looked like too. It wasn't just the outside. It's a similar thing. We have to make sure it's done right.
And just trying to give people a little bit of an idea of if they're not familiar, like Ilse probably isn't all that familiar with the way that Canada's laid out and where Ottawa is, but you can see the outline of the U.S. here. Ottawa is kind of up here. It's actually the capital of Canada, right? In general.
Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I was
that.
there at one time, but it's a little bit further north. It's like aligned with Montreal. So just to give people an idea where you're physically at.
Yeah, most people know like Toronto and Montreal. So we're 2-hour drive from Montreal and a 5-hour drive from Toronto.
Wow, Canada's big.
It is big.
So David made a comment here. He says construction has improved since the Three Little Pigs construction days, straw, sticks and bricks. What is the main thing that you use? Because I know in South Africa they build houses we don't have wooden houses. We only have houses with bricks. But I know that in Canada and in America that houses made of wood and everything is more popular than normal built houses. Is it still like that? Do you guys build houses like that?
Yeah, we still do stick framing like on site. That's still with wood, and we just added more insulation. We're paying more attention to the vapor control, the air control, weather management, that sort of stuff. But we have an abundance of wood here, so it makes sense. We don't have to deal with termites or anything like that, right? So we still have concrete foundations, and we're building on top of that. But anything that's above grade, for the most part, is wood. And if you can use wood and it makes sense, it really is a good product to use because it is, in some sense, sequestering carbon, right? So when trees grow, they take in all the carbon, all the CO2, they go into it. If you were to burn that tree, it gets released. But if you were to take that tree down, turn it into a house, that carbon stays in the wood and then a new tree can grow, right? So as long as it's done well, like sustainable forestry, it can actually help as an overall thing. Concrete and foam, on the other hand, are terrible for the environment, right? They're the two of the biggest culprits for emissions. And there's a great book out actually that's fairly new by John Doerr. The last name is Doerr, I believe, called Scale and Speed. I think it's just scaleandspeed.com. Highly recommend that everybody in the world read this book to get an idea of what we need to do as a nation, as a whole world, to get to net zero by 2050, and what happens if we don't do it, right? Because it's not just construction. It's not, there's a lot of little things we can do, right? Even if you don't live or in a passive house or a net zero home, or you don't have the funds to do it, you can have a huge impact by just cutting meat or reducing the amount of meat that you eat, for example, because that's a huge issue with emissions. The amount of emissions that are produced to get meat to your table is massive, right? So just doing that can have a huge impact, right? So there's so many little things that we can all do that we think isn't making a difference. But once again, if you lead by example, other people will start following.
That was going to be my next question, is if someone can't do the energy, the whole energy assessment, or can't make big changes, but still want to do something for the environment, what is a small thing that they can change on their house to make a difference?
Well, the easiest thing is light bulbs, if you haven't already done it, right? Most people aren't putting the old bulbs in, but if you're doing LED lights, that would be one thing. You can get better appliances. You can use like Energy Star appliances if you don't have those yet. If you're not going to improve the envelope, you can probably get a more efficient heating and cooling system as well, right? But you don't want to do it in the wrong order. You don't want to change your heating and cooling system and then change your windows and then do the envelope of your home, because then you're going to have a system that's too large. So that's why you need to plan it out properly. But then there could just be other things in how you live, as opposed to what your house is, or how you travel. Could even be like not flying, like less people have been flying these days, but I haven't flown in a long time, but I'm a contractor. I still drive a truck, right? So, but I can do a lot of other things that will reduce it and continue to get better and better.
Yeah, one of the things that I see that Donna says is that she has a swamp cooler to cool off her house. Now, I know out here in Vegas, would never recommend doing that. because it pumps a lot of moisture into your house. And which can create a mold situation. Usually if out here, we'd say, okay, if you're going to do a swamp cooler, do it in your garage.
I don't even know what a swamp cooler is. What's a
A
swamp cooler?
swamp cooler is basically
don't
an exchange system that uses water to cool the air.
Okay.
But in that process, it's not like a completely sealed system. So you actually are blowing or sucking air through this water fall essentially and into the home. So you're injecting a lot of moisture as well. But I know that, even though you might not be familiar with swamp coolers, it goes back to, as you're sealing your house up, you have to be conscious of the humidity, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, you could just generate a home that retains moisture and creates that type of a situation. You had referred to, how the HRV and the ERV help to mitigate that. But I was wondering, in terms of a healthy home, mold is terrible.
Yeah.
So trying to mitigate that is important. How do you, when you're looking at older homes and trying to improve them, but you see that there's some unhealthy type things in there, how do you look for it? And then maybe, any suggestions in terms of trying to make the home healthier from that perspective?
Well, I can talk about mold a little bit. So if you understand what the problem is and the real source of the problem, you can usually eliminate it. So mold, for example, will grow on certain materials. It depends on what the material is, right? Not all materials will allow mold growth. But mold is usually when something gets wet and it stays wet and it doesn't have the ability to dry. So as long as it has the ability to dry, then the mold won't grow. So if, like, for example, a healthy indoor air quality, like humidity levels, probably somewhere between 45 and 55. And there's stats out there, like there's all sorts of charts online. You can just Google it. You can find kind of like that curve where like mold likes to grow and where you want the humidity in your house. Here, where we run into issues is that we have drier winters and we have hot, humid summers. So we're dealing with both extremes. In the winter months, when humidity levels are higher in a house, condensation builds on the window, because what happens is that condensation builds on a cold surface where the warm air hits it. So if you can keep that surface from getting cold, then you won't have condensation. That's why I'm always recommending triple glazed windows now, proper triple glazed windows, because you can get windows that aren't done properly. But that reduces the temperature, increases the temperature in the winter of the inside surface of that window. So then the humidity from the air won't get stuck on this window and turn potentially into mold if it's a wood window, if it stays there long enough, right? So what happens is that people say, well, I can't have the humidity up high. I have to keep it down around 30 or else I get condensation issues on it. So the issue isn't the humidity. The issue is you have crappy windows. So you have to change the windows and then you can get the humidity up, because it's actually can be harmful to your health to have humidity levels too low in a home as well. So it's understanding where you need it to be and figuring out the best way to do that. In either case, you still want to seal up your home as best as possible and then bring in that conditioned fresh air and then control the humidity. Ideally, you're always controlling it yourself within the home, right? That's always what we want. We always want to maintain a certain temperature in our homes, right? That's the target. When you open windows or do anything like that, obviously you get fresh air and that kind of eliminates it. But if you're running a fresh air system, that HRV or ERV all the time, you have fresh air coming into your house 24/7 and it's preconditioned. So you're able to maintain whatever temperature it is that you want to maintain for your home. And you can better, with an ERV, it's actually better in our climate. Well, people will argue with me on that, but it's better because it allows humidity to travel through the core where an HRV does not. So in our climate, we want to either get rid of humidity or bring some extra humidity in. So sometimes we actually need humidifiers on our systems in the winter months, but then we'll need a dehumidifier, usually in a basement, like in this house where we had to run a dehumidifier because it was getting so high in the basement here, but it hasn't ran for like the last month because it started to get cold again, right? So, and basements are not common either in a lot of places, I understand. It's really common where we are, but I've done videos on why basements are a bad idea, but but people still want them. So
I've watched movies that show you why basements are bad ideas.
Yeah.
I don't need to Google that. I've watched enough movies. You have a podcast. Can you tell us more about your podcast? What kind of guests do you have on your podcast? What is your mission with your podcast?
Yeah, the podcast, it's a mixture of business as well as building science. So it's still on the education side. So some of it will be geared more towards contractors and growing and running and operating their business. But some of it's just on building better homes. So it's usually, sometimes I'll be answering questions that we get from people, our viewers or our listeners, usually through YouTube. People post questions. So I'll post those on the podcast. But a lot of them are just interviews where I'm interviewing other industry experts on a wide range of things. Could be building science. It could be an accounting for a business. It could just be a business coach. It could be for a certain product. It could be like for a fresh air system, for example. So it's different people across all aspects, but everything to do with building healthy, comfortable, and efficient homes and businesses.
Oh, nice.
Cool. It's interesting because, over the course of the years, and in some places people live where homes were built in the early 1900s. In fact, some of them even into the 1800s. And I know when I grew up, the home I lived in, it was probably a 19 teens or 1920 type home, and the wood was darn near petrified by the time we were in it, in the 60s. That was even but there were the asbestos insulation that was in there, because prior to that it wasn't well known what asbestos does. So in those types of situations, almost to mitigate that problem, you have to tear your walls out or find a way to seal them up.
Yeah.
To cover that. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, asbestos, though, as long as it's not disturbed, will not harm you, right? So that's when people like, if you have asbestos, it's okay. We come across it all the time in old houses. But as long as you're not ripping it apart, which we end up doing, so we have to mitigate it properly. But when you're living in it, it's usually fine. A lot of our ductwork around here is wrapped in asbestos because it was like the insulator, like you said. But we also have it a lot in our plaster.
Right.
But old houses, to add to that, are often will last longer. Like, I'm scared of some of the new houses that are being built because, once again, what happened is that old houses were just slapped together. Like, some of them were stone. We had stone and brick houses around here too. And actually, we just did a video. We renovated a 161-year-old stone house, and we improved the air tightness of it by over 60%. And we didn't even touch the basement in it. That was a dirt floor. So we have that on our YouTube page as well, which people can see what we did for that. But these older houses are often in better condition than some of the newer built houses, like in the 60s and 70s. Because what happened is that in the 60s, 70s, moving into the 80s, they started adding more insulation. They started adding poly, vapor barriers. They started doing these things without really understanding all of the building science. And then they started trapping moisture, and mold was growing and that sort of stuff. The really old houses had nothing, right? They didn't have any insulation. Like, this old stone house had nothing, right? So they did blow that vermiculite in there. But one of the reasons they last so long is because they have the ability to dry. Air is just constantly flowing through them. So it's like, this house, they would keep it really cold, like 15 degrees Celsius in the winter months. But all that heat was just pushing out through the wall. So it was kind of drying the brick. But you need to understand that once you stop doing that, what's going to happen to that stone after the fact, right? You need to make sure that stone can still dry towards the inside if it wants, right? So these are all things that we had to consider, and I explain on that video. But these are where you need to bring on the right people to advise and do the project correctly, as opposed to just saying, yeah, I'm going to add more insulation and put up this piece of plastic to make the house more airtight, right? Because there's smart membranes out there. You can get membranes that will allow vapor to transfer through them if the vapor pressure builds up, but it won't let air travel through it, right? Kind of like your skin, right? You can sweat, but you can't breathe through it.
If someone wants an energy assessment from you, how much does it cost and where can they find you? Do you work across the whole of USA as well, or only in Canada?
We stick to, like, I can consult anywhere, but obviously we're building here. We don't do the energy assessments though. We use a company called Homestyle Building Solutions, but you should be able to find anybody local. I don't know, like around here, there'll be somewhere between $600 and $1,000, depending on what you're doing. There's usually programs that will even pay for that. For example, Canada has the Greener Homes, I think it's called the Greener Homes Grant, where they'll cover the energy assessment. And there's about $5,000 that you can use towards, windows, heating system, whatever it may be. There's also some really cool programs. I know this is in the US and it just came to Ottawa. It was originally called the PACE program in the US. So Brett, you might have heard of that, but it's here in Ottawa, and what Ottawa's calling it is the Better Homes Ottawa Loan Program. And what that is actually an interest-free loan up to 10% of the value of the home, or $125,000, whichever is less. And it's for anything to do that really reduces your carbon footprint. So you can't put in a new natural gas furnace, but you can put in an air source heat pump. You can add solar panels. You can change your windows. You can add insulation, improve the air tightness. You can do all these things that will reduce your carbon footprint. And then you'll get an interest-free loan from the city, but it doesn't get tied to you as an individual. It gets put onto your property taxes. So it has nothing to do with your credit. You just pay it as you would, it gets added onto your property tax. So you'll pay it with that. So which is great because anybody can get approved for it from what I understand. And if you decide to sell your house, well, then either you sell it with that or you pay it off and then sell it, right? And then charge the extra for it. It's up to you at that point. But it's a way to, once again, like I'm telling everybody about this where we are, because I'm like, just do it because it's interest-free money. Because if you're going to wait 5 years and then hire us to do it, our rates are going to be up. Material costs are going to be up. Sub-trades rates are going to be up. The only thing that might be down is the solar panels and the batteries sort of thing, right? So everything else is going to be, and then you just missed out on 5 years of getting money from those solar panels if you were going to put them on. So I've already done the math on some of these, and you can actually be borrowing money interest-free to put solar panels on your house is actually a cash flow positive, right? So you're turning you're basically you're turning your roof into a rental to some extent. And I know that there's programs in the US too, where you can do the same sort of thing with geothermal. There's a lot more options in the US than there is in Canada right now.
Oh, wow. I think the guys must go check it out. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining us and being on our show and telling our guys and talking to me that had no idea what I was talking about, but we got through it. Made some sense to me and sense to the other people, and that's all that matters. So how we end off the show is we usually, everybody gets a chance just to give our viewers, I'm from the future, so I just tell them that the day is going to be amazing because it's almost 7 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening in South Africa. So, and then Brett can go and then you can go and you can just give our viewers, you can literally say anything to them. You've got a platform for 2 minutes and you can just inspire our viewers. We'd really appreciate that. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much, Casey.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Hi guys. Okay, so today started off a little bit wonky, but we made it. We survived. I apparently know something about houses. All I want to say today is sometimes things don't work out like you think, but just pedal through it. There's nothing you can do. Just pedal through it, make it a neutral situation. Do not react. Do not say anything. And then, and thanks to Mama Gotti for helping me out. I really, really appreciate it. To Brandon and Brandon's parents and anybody affected with COVID, we are sending you love and healing, and we hope you guys are feeling better. Hope to see you soon. And then I just want to read you something quickly. We attract to ourselves what we hold inside. Every circumstance, every person, and every situation that we attract and experience is based on what is inside of us. Could you ask for a more magnificent system than this? Your life is a reflection of what you hold inside you. And what you hold inside you is always under your control. Guys, be good. Tomorrow's Friday. Whoop, whoop.
All right, everyone. Sorry I was late to the show. interesting things happen. But what I really want to be able to say is, along the lines of what Casey is talking about for building homes applies to how we build the shell around us. We build that semi-permeable membrane around us where we get an opportunity to filter in and out what comes into our mind and our body and our heart. So take this opportunity to really think, as your body and your mind as your house, and recognize that if you put in better filters, if you put in better exchange systems, if you put in better core, you also need to put in something on the outside and consider how it's one big ecosystem. So just focusing on one aspect oftentimes will expose a challenge in another area that you may not have even known about because it was a lesser issue than the one that you were addressing. So when we're talking about, helping ourselves or helping others, it's about looking at our entire ecosystem. Maybe you have to pull yourself away from certain friends. Maybe you have to pull yourself away from certain things that you watch on the internet, like we talked about yesterday. So you've got that outside thing, and at the same time, you're working on the inside to be able to build that, rebuild that, focus on the clean thoughts, the clean energy. Think of it the same way, clean energy. Green energy, clean energy. Clean energy in our body creates a much healthier environment for us to conduct our lives. So with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Casey, and we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, and thanks for having me again. This was great. The fact that people maybe didn't know any of this stuff is actually a good thing, right? So we want more people to know about this stuff. So please don't hesitate to reach out. If anybody has any questions about anything, we're happy to help or guide in whichever direction we can. And my I guess parting words here would be somewhat of a challenge. I would like to challenge people to think. I don't want to steal Apple's thing, but think differently. And the reason I say that is because there's so much out there right now that we can easily get sucked down a rabbit hole and not even challenge our own thoughts. We get stuck with our beliefs. And then we realize that what we've been this happens to me all the time. What I was believing is actually not true at all. There's another way. And just like building houses, there is another way. So I challenge people to challenge their thoughts. Don't always believe their own thoughts. Learn to talk to yourself instead of listen to your thoughts, instead of listening to yourself all the time. And to build a little bit on what was already said is environment is more powerful than willpower. If you want to make a change, if you know deep down, you feel that there needs to be a change in whatever aspect, could be in your life, could be in your house, could be anything, you need to get yourself into an environment that will promote that change. Willpower will only get you so far. And that's why I put myself in certain environments. So I'm challenged around certain people so that they challenge me. And that when they talk, I realize that what I was thinking is actually could be wrong. Doesn't mean that they're right, but now I'm thinking differently. There's always another way. And I think together, when we put ourselves into those environments, we can make massive positive change and have a big impact on a lot of people.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that. I think that's a great way to look at things as well. And I really appreciate you having been on the show and the information that you imparted on us. It's a different aspect, but like you were saying, the energy in your home, literally not the electricity per se, but the energy of your home and how healthy your home is has a direct impact on both your physical and your mental health.
Absolutely.
There we go, guys. Thanks for all the comments. Please share, like, and comment. Well, you've already commented, so please just share and like now. Sorry, it's late. And then you guys, we see you on Fork It Friday. Whoop, whoop.
All right, everybody. Thanks again, Casey. Thanks everybody
Casey.
That's out there. I really appreciate everybody that tunes in.
Take care
now.